Episode 7 of the MMA Minute. Sean Strickland is your new UFC middleweight world champion. I can't believe I'm saying those words, but he did it. He dethroned Israel Adesanya. 5-round domination. It is time to rejoice. The UFC middleweight division has some life to it. I can't believe this happened, guys, but this was awesome. Obviously, I didn't expect that to happen. It's not what I predicted. I don't think anyone saw it coming, but Sean Strickland absolutely dominated Israel Adesanya over the course of 5 rounds. Literally exactly what I said in the video last week. What I thought wouldn't happen is what happened. So that was just insane, man. Sean Strickland, man, he backed up everything he said. Israel Adesanya really disappointed a lot of his fans. So we're going to get into the UFC 293. Let me check what it is. So we're going to look back at the UFC 293 card that happened. We're going to go over the picks that I made, so close to getting the parlay. But Sean Strickland, I'm happy that he was the one who sold it because we do not have to deal with Israel Adesanya anymore, or at least for a long time. Oh, this is a great feeling, isn't it? But we'll go into let's go into the picks that I made. So we started out 2 for 2. Blood Diamond lost. Of course he did, to Charles Radke. Didn't get the finish. Radke didn't finish him, but Blood Diamond lost his name. Mike Diamond is not going to be fighting in the UFC, I don't think, anymore. So, and then we had Manel Kape. He beat Felipe Dos Santos on a very super close fight. Dos Santos held his own for sure for his UFC debut. As a young kid, he definitely impressed a lot of people, and he's going to be a good prospect for the division. And we get to see another Manel Kape press conference. That guy is hilarious. If you saw... That's actually crazy. I'm just realizing it right now. Charles Radke and Manel Kape, those two guys, if you heard their post-fight interviews, it's quite the parlay we were able to put together. So, yeah, look up both those guys' post-fight interviews from UFC 293. And there's zero correlation to that. Just happened to turn out that way. But, yeah, so we were 2 for 2 on the parlays right there. 2 crazy post-fight speeches. We'll see Manel Kape fighting Kai Kara-France pretty soon, and that'll the winner of that is probably going to end up fighting for the flyweight title. So then Tai Tuivasa lost to Alexander Volkov in the second round of their fight. Definitely didn't look like himself in that fight. Tai he kind of gasped pretty quickly, and it was unfortunate because a lot of the guys on that card, a lot of the Australian, the home fighting guys were winning on that card, and then he went out there and kind of killed the vibe for Adesanya. But it wasn't... Volkov looked really good. I believe now he's ranked... What? I don't know. I'm going to blame it on the network here. We've had pretty spotty connection here on campus all day. But Volkov is probably ranked at least in the top... I'd say 5 to 8 right now. Where's the rankings? The ESPN rankings are actually crazy. I just saw that they had Sean Strickland ranked at number 5 in the middleweight division right now. Adesanya is still ranked number 1. That's crazy. I don't know how that's possible, but if you're going to look at rankings and look at what rankings are, I guess, the most credible, it's going to be the UFC's rankings, even though they have John Jones at number 1 over Alexander Volkanovski, which doesn't make much sense in the if you look at like the recent fight history. But if John Jones is active, I think he should be the number 1 pound for pound fighter. And Volk, you can do 1A and 1B if you want. But yeah, I think John Jones should never be below pound for pound number 1 on the list. But they have Sean Strickland ranked 5th in the ESPN rankings. That is just beyond me. I can't believe that. Obviously, as the champ, you should be ranked number 1 regardless. It's not a ranking based off of who is the best martial artist. I mean, that's probably what ESPN is looking at, but what it comes down to is who's the best fighter. And how are you going to put Sean Strickland 5 spots below Israel Adesanya after what happened? That's crazy to me. But we're going to get into the Sean Strickland fight and Adesanya. Wow, just absolutely insane. First round starts out pretty slow. Adesanya kind of does his thing. Sean is doing his thing, walking towards Izzy the whole time, going at him with his hands up, and then cracks him with a beautiful 1-2 down the pipe. And just Adesanya never really recovered after that. you've never seen Adesanya had never been dropped before in the UFC. They didn't even count it as a drop when he lost to Pereira in when he lost by TKO. So that was the first time you've ever seen him get dropped like that. And his legs went. Honestly, he probably could have hurt his leg in that little scrum, because right when he gets dropped, he was just scrambling. He had no idea where he was, getting back to his feet. And Sean Strickland just hammering him the whole time. Gets back to his feet. He gave Goddard the thumbs up, but dude, he did not look good. He definitely could have been stopped right there. But Sean Strickland obviously doesn't have the hardest hitting hands. But wow, that was crazy. Adesanya never recovered after that first round. And you see him going back to his corner. I don't know, it definitely wasn't that round, but I think it was the third and the fourth. You see him talking to Eugene, and he asked Eugene Berriman, he's like, did I win that round? And Eugene didn't even really answer him. You don't see him asking that question a lot. I think the last time I saw him ask Eugene if he won the round was in the first Pereira fight. And yeah, Pereira actually kind of called it too. Pereira did say that he thought Strickland was going to beat Adesanya, or that he was the hardest competition for him. If you see Adesanya in his post-fight, he didn't really talk much. He hasn't said much since the fight. He did come out with a video. Actually, he came out with a YouTube video breaking it down. He didn't give Strickland too much credit, honestly. He kind of like brushed it off as a joke still, but yeah, that's going to be a tough loss for his career. You know, that's in his last 7 fights. What is he, 4-3 or 3-4? Yeah, so that puts Izzy in a pretty tough spot. He's 4-3 in his last 7 fights, so that does a little bit of damage to his legacy. You know, he's in his last 4, he's 2-2. So he doesn't look too great. He's at definitely a big crossroads in his career. He's going to have to take some time off, assess what they're going to do. I don't think they should give him an immediate title shot. He just got one against Pereira. Why give him 2 back-to-back immediate title shots if he didn't even defend his belt? But it doesn't seem like Dana's going to go that way. It'll probably be Costa or Costa or Cumshot. And then we'll see who wins that. And then the winner of that could fight Dricus, but I don't know. Dricus is kind of getting kicked off to the wayside right now because that injury really did hurt him. So his name's really not getting brought up at all. And then you have Rob, obviously, still on the side. But I'm just happy that Strickland won because it opens up chances for guys like Rob to get back into a title shot and win. Dricus could become champion now. It just opens up a lot more room in that division for growth because Strickland, he could be a long reigning champion. I don't see him as being one. He'll probably be super active because he's always been active, and if he avoids injuries within fights, it seems like he gets more injuries outside of fights than he does in his fights. But if he can avoid injuries, I'm sure he'll be a pretty active champion. But there's a lot of guys who pose real threats to him. He's a difficult stand-up fight for anybody, and he proved that against Adesanya. And his podcast with Chris Curtis, so they were talking, and Chris said that that's what a lot of guys when guys spar with Strickland, that's what their first round or their first time sparring looks like with him. They get super frustrated just because his style is so unique and he's just so upright. He's always coming at you. He didn't seem tired at all in the end of that fight. And Adesanya was the one who seemed gassed, which is never the case in his fights. So Adesanya's on the back foot the whole time, getting pressured. That takes a lot out of you. So I just think he just got pressured the whole time. And just wasn't able to get anything off. People said he looked slow. I didn't think he looked that slow at all. I think Sean had really good defense. I was actually kind of impressed with Izzy's speed in the first round. He was looking pretty good until he wasn't. But people are going to look to excuses to discredit Sean's win and say Izzy just didn't look the same. A lot of guys, Dana said that right after the fight, but I thought he looked the same. He is getting a little bit older, so that's something that he needs to take into consideration in his career. Maybe he should move up, fight Alex again if Alex beats Yuri. But, yeah, so like I said, Chris Curtis says a lot of guys don't look good in their first rounds against Sean. He's just an awkward guy to fight against. So that's basically exactly what happened, as he got dropped and was never able to figure anything out. And then in the post-fight, he goes up to Sean and they kind of have that weird moment where he says no cameras, no mics, and Sean kind of detailed what he said to him where Izzy talked to him. He was like, this is my family. I would never talk about your family. I would never be disrespectful. Let's be honest here. We all know if Izzy laid out Sean, he would have done the most disrespectful celebration on the planet. Look what the guy did to Costa. Look what he did to Pereira. When he knocks guys out, he is the least bit respectful at all. So for him to get mad at, or not get mad, but be like, hey, don't say anything too personal, when he knows damn well he would have been the most disrespectful winner in the UFC if he had got his way. He said he was going to do TikTok dances, do all sorts of stuff over Sean if he had him laid out on the canvas. But dude, like, I cannot believe Sean fucking won that fight, man. And then, so Sean luckily didn't go too in on Izzy in the post fight, but he could have, man. There's going to be a lot of compilations of shit talking gone right with Strickland just absolutely handing it to Izzy, man, in the press conference. Like I said in the last time, a champion has really never had that type of like verbal assault in a press conference before. He had no comebacks at all, didn't say anything, goes out there and got starched in the fight. So that's not going to look good for him, man. We'll see what his next fight is. Maybe he fights Rob again, honestly. 4th fight there. But I doubt it. I don't think Rob would want that. And actually, he probably would want it. I don't know. Rob would probably fight anybody you put in front of him. But so Sean, his next fight will be either Costa, Chimaev, or maybe Dricus if he comes back, but probably not. It'll probably be one of them. I know he's trained with Kamzat before. They have a lot of clips together. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited for the middleweight division. I'm excited we don't have Adesanya anymore, obviously. All right, here's another thing. I didn't notice this, or it didn't even come out until after I recorded the last episode. So I put in the parlay, and I was certain like this one was going to hit. It was 3 favorites, so it was good odds they were going to hit. First 2 hit, I'm feeling good. And then I think Drake bet $500,000 on Adesanya in that fight, man. So that basically seals the deal right there. If I make a parlay pick and then you see like after the episode comes out that Drake bet a lot of money on the parlay, nullify the whole thing, or just like put money on one fighter on any of the fighters in the parlay, completely nullify it. Forget what I said. Right when I saw that, dude, I should have known. I should have known that Drake was going to do something like that because I feel like he's always betting on the Izzy fights. And it looked like good money. It looked like sure money, but whenever Drake puts his money down, nothing good happens. So that was I'm going to blame him for the parlay last week. UFC's been a little bit slow since then. A lot of fight nights. But we do have UFC 294 coming up in about 2 weeks. We'll make a video for that, breaking down the predictions for that. And I do want to do some different style videos. I was thinking I'm looking into how I can like screen record on my computer and put myself in the box, like up in the top right, like a gameplay type thing. And then I can show you guys what's on my screen and talk you through stuff. Have just like a lot different videos. I could break down fights a lot easier. And, I just have some cool ideas for that. So hopefully we can get those. I can get that figured out, and then we can have some different type of videos coming up. But we'll break down UFC 294 next week. This week we have, I think it's Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. Decent card, another fight night card, just kind of holding you over until the 294. But, yeah, Bobby Green's on there. I think Alex Hernandez is on there. Joaquin Buckley, Alex Morono and Buckley are fighting. So, there's some pretty big names on there, some pretty good fights. But like I said, the internet's down right now, so I can't really do much. Can't really I should have had the cards pulled up. That's my bad. But, I know it's Grant Dawson, Bobby Green. Grant Dawson is a submission specialist. If he can get Bobby Green in any sort of grappling scenario, obviously we know Bobby is not a grappler. That's how he loses most of his fights. But if he can keep it standing, he can finish Grant Dawson for sure. I don't know. I wouldn't put that in a parlay if you're going to put one together. I would stay away from that fight because I can see Bobby Green getting submitted, and I can also see him finishing the fight on the feet. But if I was to bet, I would probably just put money on Bobby Green just because, I don't know. I'd feel like an idiot if I bet on Grant Dawson. And then they have the Joaquin Buckley, Alex Morono fight. I'll take Buckley in that one. And Moreno's pretty good. He fought Ponzinibbio recently. He fought Cowboy. He has some good fights. Quiet fighter. Not much out on Moreno. Bit of a weird dude, but so I'll take Buckley and I guess Bobby Green for just 2 fights there. Like I said, not much happening this week. Not much happened. There was Shevchenko versus Grasso. Grasso retained in a pretty controversial, you could say, decision. It was in Mexico, so you have to know if the fight's gonna go to the judges down there. And you have a home fighter there, and the fight's close. It's most likely going to go to the home fighter. It's like that in basically every country you go to. If you go to England, that happens. If you go to Brazil, that happens. That is just what happens. Actually, I don't even think they fought in Mexico, so I take that back. I think they fought in Vegas. But it was like the Mexican card. There was a lot of Mexicans fighting on the card, so a lot of them won prior to her. So leading up to that, it just seemed like if it goes to decision, they're going to give it to Grasso, because there was a few other sketchy decisions that night too. But so yeah, she gets the draw, technically not a win, but I don't know if they'll give Shevchenko a rematch. Not that she doesn't deserve it, but it's just the division needs a little bit of movement. Maybe Erin Blanchfield can get in there, get a fight. So yeah, like I said, we'll break down UFC 294 next week, and that's it for this week.